Hey everybody, this is Rob, and I've got a couple of special guests with me here today, Dale and Kelly. Hey guys!
Hi!
Hey!
What's up?
This is Archangel Ink Live number 24, and we are rocking it from a conference here in Orlando, Florida, beautiful Orlando, and a little bit of an impromptu one. Sorry everybody, I didn't get a chance to send out an email, but I saw these beautiful people and wanted to get together and get them on camera a little bit. And I think tonight we're going to talk about conferences. And the question that we're going to address is, are conferences worth it? Are they worth attending? If you are looking to build your business and to become to have an unstoppable author brand, as some people are trying to do, then might conferences be for you? So I wanted to get these folks on and chat a little bit because they are conference goers, at least from time to time. So first off, would you introduce yourself to folks out there? If you don't know Dale and Kelly, you should. But in case you don't, please feel free to share a little bit.
Hi, I'm Kelly Roberts. I have the YouTube channel Kelly Publish. Most recently, I have done the whole no and low content stuff. I know some of you authors aren't too much fans of that, but that's here nor there. And I've also done the whole Amazon merch print on demand thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. Who's this? Who's beside me?
You know what? I am a multi-time guest on Archangel Ink, oddly enough.
It's very true.
I am Dale L. Roberts. I am a best-selling author and self-publishing advocate. That's wanted to show you how to publish books that sell. And I come to conferences for very good reason. It's not to just sit in a cold conference room to hear somebody speaking from a stage to me. It's great to learn from people, but one of the things that I like is this right here.
Yeah, conferences can be a really good opportunity to connect with others in your industry, colleagues, friends, and people who are out there engaging in different projects and trying to better themselves. So, yeah, I mean, we don't have to jump in too terribly long on the topic. I know our lives usually go for 30 to 60 minutes, but I wanted to get a little of a sense from each of you guys what we'll tackle the big question at the end, are conferences worth it? But tell us a little bit what your experience has been on attending conferences, what conferences you've been at, anything that you'd like to share to start off with.
Any conference or just publishing?
Probably publishing related, but anything, business related, entrepreneurial related. If you have other ventures, other projects that you've done previously that are not publishing related, but may have helped you in your business building, that's all fair game too.
Gotcha. Well, I've done the Summit of Greatness in Columbus, Ohio. That's more self-development type stuff. Vid Summit, a couple years. We've done 3 years, I think.
3 years, yep.
God, I can't remember all of them. A lot of video type conferences.
Mm-hmm.
BookNet Fest. We've done an Amazon merch conference. What was that video one in Vegas?
That
all the names are right.
Think Media, Sean Cannell's event.
Think Media. A lot of video type stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
And for folks out there, you should know these guys, but they both have active YouTube channels, and we'll include some links down below after the recording here. And they're both very seasoned in the video conference or video realm. So check them out. Yeah,
I really can't add to the. We're married, obviously, with the last name Roberts. She's not my sister, so that'd be really, really weird. Yeah. I'm sorry, I got something in my eye. Go figure. Like, as soon as you go live, that's when you get something going inside your eye.
On my leg.
Any events, for me, obviously we like to travel together. And one of the nice things about being in similar businesses is we're able to kind of pick and choose some things that the both of us can kind of agree on. Now, one of the things that my viewers through Self-Publishing with Dale, is a lot of people always wonder, are you going to go to this self-publishing conference or this indie author conference or this, typically something that's related to our business, right? I'm a little backwards in that regard. It's not that I don't want to learn more about self-publishing. In fact, I believe I would learn a lot. In fact, I probably would just be in complete mode of like, I want to learn. I try to go and learn as much as possible. But for me, conferences that we go to that are outside of our normal sphere helps me refine what it is and how I'm able to deliver my product to other people. Because if I'll meet the likes of someone like a Rob Archangel or a Dave Chesson. What's up, Dave? And people like that, Michael Laron, I'm going to be able to meet those folks, and yeah, they will be able to get me stronger on my game of self-publishing. But I try to go to other things like video creator conferences, so I can meet other people that can kind of complement what I'm doing in this business and help me kind of reach a wider audience than say I would if I were just to go to a self-publishing conference, because we have this small sect of authors and self-publishers. But if you think about the video content creators and how much that's blossoming and growing, my thought is I can reach into this influencer community, learn how they do things, and hopefully better equip them with other things within the self-publishing game itself.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it's a good, I mean, not to say that you can't learn things from a self-publishing conference, but as I was going about it, you're a self-publishing advocate and enthusiast, and you really keep on top, I would say, of the latest trends, and certainly there are probably some cutting edge things that you might learn, as well as some of the networking that can happen. But that's part of what you do, and another part of it is delivering that message and figuring out how to convey that message and package that message in a way that's going to reach as many people as possible. I think is really important too. And at this point, you've created many videos, which are great. But there's always things to learn there as well, in addition to the sort of online, real-time independent research that you're doing around your specific niche, and people who are kind of like you said, offering complementary perspectives, information, approaches, strategies that can help build that brand a little bit. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have anything else you wanted to share on that, Kelly?
No.
Okay.
You covered it.
She's usually along for the ride. We always found that, the two of us really function really well together, because there are times that I want to go out to every conference, and, hopefully as we kind of share some of these things, you're going to kind of discover some of the things that we've been successful at when it comes to going to conferences and leveraging that opportunity to help grow our businesses and our networks. And then there's other times where you're going to find out that it's a bit of an overkill. So I think that you can share, what was it, year before last, we went on a 2-month stretch. And you were part of that 2-month stretch, actually.
I think was BookNet Fest part of it?
Right,
Yeah, I was going to share that, but the question wasn't asked, so I didn't say it.
Well, Kelly, please tell, share, Kelly, by all means.
It was just a 2-month stretch, and we got so excited. It was what?
Yeah, really.
I also did Summit of Greatness. He doesn't do that conference, so I did 6 conferences in 9 weeks, including 2 cross-country trips in 3 weeks, and it was an overkill.
That's a lot,
to say the least.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
We had started out, I think, with BookNet Fest that year. You were there for that. So we started out there, and then we ended at Vid Summit in October.
Oh, that was not the first one. Video Marketing World.
Video Marketing World. That's right. Prior to that, because that was in Texas, and so we bookended that year. And I remember when we were done with Vid Summit, we were absolutely just tired. It was great, but I think sometimes when you select your conferences, even if you have the discretionary expense, even if you say, okay, business-wise, I can afford this, I can go ahead and do this. Sometimes you do have to be picky and choosy, because you only have so much willpower. You only have so much energy. Caffeine will only get you so far before your body gives out. And you don't just want to go to these conferences to sit on your hands and watch the people speaking on stage. You want to, of course, learn from them, but also go speak to the presenters. Go and speak to the people sitting at the tables or the seats next to you, and get the most of that time that you have there. So during that 2 months,
I remember the very last day of Vid Summit, I was like, I don't even know if another thought can go in my brain. I felt like mush upon mush and more mush. Right. It was ridiculous.
It was brutal. So if I could go back and do it differently, I'd say all the conferences, were great. But if we could just chose one, I probably would have just stuck with Video Marketing World or Vid Summit, because both were great on their own merit. But I felt like we got the best use of our time there. We were able to go in, speak to the great number of people, and get the most from our ticket price. If you're looking at And I think this is something you should address when you're looking at conferences, what the size of it is. So marketing world, I pass every time because they have, I think, upwards of like 5,000 attendees.
Oh, wow.
It's a large amount of people.
Right.
Now, in your head, you might think, oh, that's not too big. But when you get there in person, I mean, that's like an arena full of people for crying out loud, you know? We go to Vid Summit, that's got roughly about 1,000 to 1,600. That feels pretty full, but it's still small enough that it's manageable. So we're at this conference right now. I think they say it draws up to about 2,000 people. So that's at my comfort limit. So think about if you're the type of person, or if you're an author or somebody who just feels like you don't like to be crammed in with a lot of people, pick your conference accordingly.
And also do some research as to what you may learn. Like if you're, say, a beginner with YouTube, pick a conference that's not too advanced, vice versa. If you've been in the space for a while, don't choose a conference that's maybe at the starter level. That'd be a big tip that I give.
Yeah, that's great. Great feedback. You know, just figure out what the expectations are, what the reviews are of other attendees. You know, what their experience is like, who it's really targeted for, and then determine if, just a little gut check. Am I realistically part of the target demographic? If so, maybe it's a good one. If not, well, maybe you might still go, but go into it with open eyes at least.
And also, don't have FOMO. Fear of missing out. It's okay. The conference will happen again. There's going to be another video conference. Think about quality over quantity. This is a long-term game, this whole entrepreneurship world, or whatever niche you may be in. Yeah, awesome. So Dale, you alluded to this a moment ago in your comment about cost. So what sort of position should somebody be in when they're navigating this? What concerns should they have? Are conferences generally expensive? Are they worth it? Or at least from a return on investment standpoint, can they help you grow your business? And what should you be kind of looking out for to determine that? Because obviously you can't know before you go, but you might have some things that lead you to believe, yes, this could be worth it. And any thoughts from either of you guys on that?
The cost, and she can help me out because she's just the ninja when it comes to planning out costs. But you need to, first of all, always consider, all right, you're going to be taking time away from, if you've got a day job, you're going to have to take time away from that. All right, so that means that's time you're not going to get paid unless you have vacation pay or sick pay or whatever else you're able to do while you're away from your regular job. Now, if this is your job, if you are a writer, that's taking time away from the office and what you're going to write. Don't fool yourself into believing you're going to show up to a conference, you're going to make your WIP, over inside your hotel room. I hate to tell you, if you're spending time inside your hotel room and not time inside the conference and networking with people, you're probably, you're losing money again. So going to these conferences is time away. So you will be sacrificing right away. Then there's the cost of a ticket. Most times I find good conferences will run about $200 to as much as about $800.
Yes.
And it's usually like a weekend long thing, 2 to 3 days. You will typically look at.
I haven't spent more than $800.
No more than about $800. Now remember, this is where I'm going to hand the ball off over here to Kelly, because Kelly's going to tell you about travel and transportation and hotel accommodations. What's that typically going to run?
It really depends on your budget. If you're on a budget, maybe do a road trip instead of travel. But in our position, I don't drive if it's over an hour, maybe over 2 hours. But flying, hotel room, in this case, resort fees, food, there's a lot of stuff to it. Did you want me to give a dollar figure? Or, because it can vary so much.
It really will.
First class Spirit versus Delta. It's just, for this,
plane tickets were dirt cheap because we had Southwest miles go
flyer miles, With this conference together, hotel and flight itself is probably going to be about $800 combined.
Yeah.
That's not even including food and stuff like that.
That's why we aren't sitting in our hotel room doing nothing,
Yeah. So you can do it on a budget.
Yeah.
Pick wisely. And you really do get what you pay for.
And also remember, there's 2 of us here. So as she's sharing some of these numbers to you, you can think about when you're going to a conference, call up a friend, see if they would be interested in it. So if you're doing this solo, it's going to cost a lot of money, but you can really mitigate a lot of that spending if you can share this journey with somebody else. Hey, I'm getting ready to go to XYZ conference. Do you think that'd be something you'd be interested in? Yeah, all right, let's go ahead and work together. Let's see if we can go ahead and book some flights together. Maybe we can get a hotel room together, things like that. It can really bring that cost down. But, you know, if you're going to go to a, very first thing I would say is try to find things in your area, because there's almost always, with the exception of like if you're in a remote location like Alaska or something, there's always is something in your area. It may not be the most popular thing. You know, it might not be a Podfest, because Podfest has been going on for about 5-6 years now. But it is a start. I know that up over in Ohio, they have something that's called Social Media Lima, or Social Media Week in Lima, or something like that in Lima, Ohio. It's a little smaller, but at least there's something that is close to us. So if we ever didn't want to do thousands of dollars in investing, then we can probably do something like that.
And, oh, sorry, I was just going to say, if you're also on a budget, be mindful of any upsells. Like any replays or stuff like that, because you can get replays for one-time only fee of $47. How much content do you have on your computer that's waiting to be watched? I mean, it's only $47, not a big investment, but if you are on a budget, so just think about that as well.
You want to know who bought the replays before?
This guy.
And do you want to know who never watched it?
Also this guy.
That's the problem, is sometimes you'll get that upsell and you'll get that FOMO, as she puts, that fear of missing out. And you're like, oh, I want to get every single one of these speakers. Remember, conferences aren't just about getting educated. It's about making the connections. So you want to make sure that you're going out of your way. If you're a wallflower, you're going to have to kind of step out of your comfort zone just a little bit. And maybe just somebody who's sitting next to you, just go, hey, how's it going? My name is Dale, blah, blah, blah. What brings you here? Just something as simple as that. It's going to feel awkward at first, and if you're like a germaphobe, you can always be like, hey, what's going on? Get you some ducks. You know, whatever.
Elbow bumps.
Yeah, elbow bumps, you know. Either way, get it to where you're making it worth your while. That's why I always just try to tell people conferences aren't just for learning. I used to do that. I would just be freezing my tail off, like, I'm going to watch this person. And there was like, the first time we went to like Bid Summit, and there was like someone who was just, I'm sorry if Daryl Eves is watching this later on, Daryl. A couple of your speakers weren't all that great. One of them was like, we were just dying. And I'm like, and finally we're just like, we just had to get up. We just had to be rude and walk out. It was right in the front of the place, no less.
Another tip I would have, if you're not on a budget, have a little bit more to spend, do you get VIP package? Do you get general? I typically would say get VIP. Again, you get what you pay for. For example, for Summit of Greatness, I always upgrade to preferred seating because I don't have to fight crowds. I get closer seating. I can pay attention better. So also that'd be a big tip. Just you get what you pay for.
Yeah. Figure out what the trade-offs are, and particularly, you know, if it's worth it. I'm not a conference, but I remember a couple of years ago I attended Hollow Scream, which is a local. I live in Florida, and in Tampa there is a amusement park, Busch Gardens, and they have a Halloween sort of night, and it's over the course of basically all of October. And I was waiting online, you know, and these lines are an hour long, and I thought, well, you know what, maybe it's worth it to just get the fast pass. And it was, you know, a little bit of a premium, $50 a person or whatever it was. I was like, wow, I actually got to experience all of these, you know, all these attractions rather than sit around and wait in line. It's like, well, the nighttime, it's a Halloween thing, so it's nighttime only. So it's like we're only there for 5 hours, 6 hours, or whatever. So potentially it could be worth it. And you know, when you're making these arrangements, whether it's for travel or, you know, the conference, the workshops itself, figure out where your value is. What are you trying to get out of it? And you know, if you are really going there to study and to be up close to the action, and, you know, to be comfortable, then, you know, might be worthwhile for you know, for the upgrade. So thank you for sharing a little bit on you know, on costs and you know, what the particulars might look like. But the other thing I wanted to share was a couple of years ago, my little town, I live in Florida, little town had a book fair. It's downtown square, you know, right off of Main Street. And I went there, and, you know, Archangel Ink existed at the time. It was younger, so it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. But met several authors. A lot of the authors were, you know, just kind of those passion project authors, self-publishing their own memoirs, or like, this is what town looked like, Florida looked like 50 years ago, and, you know, their own family photos or whatever. but there are some authors who had a little bit of a broader reach and broader aspirations, and one of them ended up becoming an audiobook client of ours. Wasn't really expecting it, just kind of wanted to go and hobnob a little bit and, you know, rub shoulders and hey, what are you up to? You know, like Dale said, you know, I'm Rob, I live here, you know, what brings you here? Tell me a little bit about your story. And yeah, you don't know what sort of connections you might end up making, even something a little bit wider where people come in from a bigger range. So let's see.
Something that really gets it to where you can break the ice. You know, see, I'm half extrovert, half introvert. So there's times where I just want to shut up and just stay back and not do anything. But something that really helps out is finding common ground. So if for some reason you don't want to go speak to the presenter, like you may be intimidated by them, which don't be intimidated by them. They put on their pants one leg at a time, just like you. But sometimes maybe the presenter is tied up at the very end of, you know, their presentation, and there's a bunch of people waiting. You don't want to wait around in line. One of the best ways to kind of break ice is look for familiar faces that were sitting in the same presentation as you, and say just something as simple, hey, you know, what'd you think about that presentation that we had? You've got that common ground then, and it just makes it super simple. Like, hey, did I just see you over in that talk with Roberto Blake the other day? Yeah, what'd you think about that? And it just becomes something a little bit more simple. That way you're not feeling so forced of, hey, what's going on? How you doing? My name is Dale. I'm a self-published author. And everybody's just kind of like, okay, whatever. Whereas now we've got that common ground. It's better small talk than, how about that weather out there? You know, it's better small
Getting mighty
talk.
warm, isn't it?
Right, yeah, you know, you've got that common ground of being at this conference and breaking the ice in a more subtle and easier way. So if you are an introvert and you're kind of afraid to break the ice, that's one of the easiest ways, is you were in a talk, this other person was in a talk. Now, don't be afraid. If you ever see a presenter by themselves, you can make some really good friends. Like, we became really good friends with a very massive social media influencer in Evan Carmichael. The guy has over 2 million subscribers. He was standing by himself, and we were like, I'm like, is this for real? We just go over and we start talking to him, and we've become really good friends with he and his wife. And all because I wasn't nervous about it. I just went on up, and I'm like, and you know what? The funny thing is, he was so awesome about it. He's like, he wasn't in a rush. It was like, are we done talking or anything else like that? It was like, you know, he asked us a lot of great questions. I told him how I was a fan of his channel. What was your favorite videos? And so, yeah, if you ever find you're fearful of connecting with the presenter, don't, because chances are very likely they may want to talk to you.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Thank you. Great feedback. Do you guys have any other thoughts on conferences before we've sort of been circling around the big question, but anything else that you wanted to share before we determine whether in fact they are worth it?
No, she's usually the one that's brutally honest.
I'm waiting for the final question.
All right, guys.
I don't have anything else. To
Final question. Are conferences worth attending?
Yes, if you don't go overboard. Don't do the Roberts, fear of missing out, and do 6 and 9 weeks or whatever crazy number. If you're new to conferences, research and pick one.
Start with one good one for a year, and I stand behind that. We're on slate right now. I'm speaking at this conference for VidFest as part of PodFest 2020 on a panel. I'm doing that tomorrow morning, and then 2 months from now, I'm also speaking and emceeing an event called People of Video in Albany, New York. Those are more like I'm going to be speaking, but most likely I'm going to be doing a lot of networking like a madman. Beyond that, we're going to be going to Vid Summit. That really is kind of like the place we've gone to 4 years in a row. I'm not speaking at that, but I will be actively networking with other people. That's really where we're going to. Now, are we planning any other ones? Not at this point. We want to focus on our business.
That is a perfect schedule in my book.
Yeah. If anything, these two conferences are a little close together, but it was an opportunity that was presented to me, and I'm like, okay, this is great. We get to come down and visit Rob. It'll be a good time. And, on top of that, the people were kind enough to hook us up with VIP passes as part of, the whole speaker package and such like that. So that right there just makes me feel special altogether anyway. So our conference is worth it. Absolutely. Big 2 thumbs up for me.
Yeah, awesome. And like you mentioned earlier, Dale, I would say too, in addition to figuring out which is a good one, ideally one that's sort of close by that doesn't require a whole lot of time and energy commitment. Just be realistic about your budget as well. Sometimes when people are starting out, they're like, oh, an educational event like a conference is deductible. That's great, but you don't want to eat away all of your profit for the year or even go into a loss. So just be realistic about where you're at, where your business is at, what you can realistically hope to get from it. But yes, they can absolutely be really powerful networking and business. I like conferences. I look forward to attending more and encourage folks out there, if you're thinking about it, take the advice of these 2 fine folks and see if it might be right for you.
I have one more tip.
Yes, please.
Share. A tip on choosing conferences. Everyone has a favorite city. I highly recommend not picking a conference in your favorite city. For example, we went to Sean Cannell's event last year in Las Vegas. We love Las Vegas. It was incredibly, incredibly difficult to concentrate during that conference.
No knock on Sean Cannell.
No, not at all.
No knock on him. Sean's a tremendous guy. He put on a good conference, but it's Vegas and it's our favorite town. And all we could think about was going to hit the craps tables and staying up late.
And we both agree, no more conferences in Vegas.
I don't think there's ever a chance I'm going to be going to 20 books to 50K at all.
Big tips.
Got it. Awesome. Well, thank you both. I'm so happy that you guys were in town and in my great state of Florida, and happy to be here. And thank you for being on the live stream. Everybody out there, please feel free to leave thoughts, comments, questions down below. We're always happy at Archangel Ink, as well as Kelly Publish and Self-Publishing with Dale to assist. So feel free to check both of these folks out. And thanks for tuning in. Have a great night. There we go.